Hello students, I am Bibu Sarangi from Mayurband School of Engineering. I'm a senior lecturer in computer application. Today for second semester students we will cover chapter 2, that is computer software, and the topic will be overview of an operating system and functions of operating system. So first of all, we need to understand what is an operating system, or you can call it also OS or operating. Operating system is a system software. So you could have remembered that when we came across software, so there are two types of softwares. One is system software, another one is application software. So a system software is basically which manage the computer system itself, and applications are based on that, and whatever works we do or application we use for the computer, that is called application software. So operating system, as the name suggests, operating means to operate a computer. So operating system is a system software which acts as an interpreter between the computer and the user. So it is very clear that as a user, common user, we don't understand the language of a computer, because computer uses low level language, and as a human and ordinary user we use high level language. So we cannot understand computer, and at the similar pattern computer doesn't understand my language also. So we need somebody in between who will translate, or we can call it interpret, my commands to the computer, and the reverse. Whatever computer gives to us, it will show us in my language, or you can call it a high level language. So operating system is a system software which acts as an interpreter between computer and user. Then further we can explain that an operating system is a set of programs. Operating system is not a single program or not a single command. It is a set of programs which is used in a computer to manage all resources. So what is the resources of a computer? What is the resource of a human being? His body, his life, his money, his wealth, whatever are the resources. Similarly, for a computer, its resources are the input devices, storage, processor, output devices are the resources of a computer. Then the operating system takes the sole responsibility of managing the resources of a computer. Done? And also at the same time, the operating system take the responsibility of running the application programs in a computer. For example, I want to get a railway ticket, I want to get a shopping, I want to go for a shopping, online shopping, I want to edit a text or create a text, I want to see a video, or I want to listen to a music. All these are application software. So these application software are works under a particular operating system. So this is I have just tried to show you there's a screen of an operating system which is called Windows 10. Some of the major roles of an operating systems are, besides resource management, the operating system also take charge of the processor management. So whatever is coming to the processor, how it is coming, who will come, who will not come, whatever things, what inputs will come, how outputs will go out, what things will be processed, what things will not to be processed, if there is any error, everything, it will take care of that. Then comes memory management. Can anyone tell me that when you have a memory, right? It may be a hard disk, it may be a compact disk, it may be a pen drive, whatever type of memory you have. Can you show that my file or my music or my picture is at this place? No, it is not possibility. It is not visible to us. So now whenever I am typing on a computer to get some input, or I am scanning something to take as the input, so these things are carried from the input device stored in the memory, or you can call it RAM, and from the RAM it goes to the processor, and from the processor it again comes to the RAM as output, then from that it goes to the output device. So management of the memory plays a very important role in operating a computer. Then comes device management. So what is a device? So using a computer, we need help of other devices. For example, suppose you are riding a bike. A bike is a completely one machine which comprises of various different devices. Like suppose engine is a device, gearbox is a device, braking system is a device, lighting system is a device, wheels are device. So these type of things are there. Similarly, in the computer system also, we have input devices, the keyboard, a scanner, barcode reader, some kind of things will be there. And which device is which kind of device, how it works, how it accept the input or deliver the output. So all things are being managed by the operating system, right? Then next comes information management. So whatever files we create, whatever things we do in a computer, how they will be stored, keeping their tracks, their memory size, and everything has been managed. And at the same time, although we can also store, we can delete, edit, print, all these things are being managed by the operating system. Okay. Now, before going into depth, we can check what are the different types of operating system available for us. What are the types of different operating systems? So there are different types of operating system are available in the market which are used for different computers and different purpose. In the first chapter, computer organization, we came to know that there are different types of computers, different types of, rather I call it digital computers, like mainframe computer, supercomputer, mini computer, personal computer. All these computers are different in size and their capacity also differ from each other, right? So similarly, so when we are using the same operating system may not work perfectly for every computer. The same operating system cannot work perfectly for every operating system. Some operating system are hardworking, intelligent, which can do better work. So now based on their working, we can broadly classify it into the operating system as per, you can see on your screen, that is as per our next slides. Okay. So before going to that, I can show you that you see the computer hardware as the core. You can see here the computer hardware as the core. Above this, you have system software, that is operating system, language compilers, these kind of things. And above that, there is application softwares, MS Word, MS Excel, PowerPoint, your audio or video application softwares, your shopping, your ticketing, all kinds of softwares you have in your computer are application software. And above that, you are there. You are, as the user, you are there. So now, when the user want to interact, it will talk to the application software. The application software talk to the system software. The system software will interact with the computer hardware, and just the reverse. The computer hardware will talk to the system software talk to the application software, and finally the user get the output. Okay, so I can show it again here. User gives to the application software whatever request. Suppose you want to get a ticket, then you have to open an application which is used for ticket. If you want to listen a song or watch a video, so you have to open an application which is enable the music to audible to you, to listen to you. Now this application runs, but it needs the help of hardwares. What kind of hardwares? If you suppose, for example, if you want to see a video or you listen to audio, now that video or audio is stored in your computer memory, then that has to be accessed, and through the application software that has to be played also. And suppose you are listening to an video which has also an audio, what will happen? The music will be played through the speaker and the visual will be seen on the monitor. All these activities will be done. So you have interact with the memory, you have interact with the files, with the input device, you have interact with the speaker system, also the display system. All these things are hardwares. Now application cannot directly interact with the hardware. It will request the operating system to aid the operation, to get access of those hardwares which they needed. Now the operating system will tell the hardware to act accordingly. The speaker will play the sound and the display unit will play the video for you. And similarly, the hardware will respond to the operating system, the operating system will respond to the application, and the application will respond to the user. I hope these things you can understand it clearly what I exactly mean to say. Now, based on number of users, we are discussing about types of operating system. And earlier I told you that there are different types of computers, so naturally we need different types of operating systems. So based on number of users, an OS can handle operating systems are divided into two types. Now we have came across a computer called supercomputer. We have came across a computer called mainframe computer, mini computer and microcomputer, or you can call it a personal computer. So all these computers in a mainframe computer, in a supercomputer, they are multi-user computers. What do you mean by multi-user computers? Multi-user computers means more than one user can access one computer at a time. One computer means one memory, one in processor, but multiple input and output devices. So these types of computers, which are large computers, or you can call them mainframe computers or supercomputers or mini computers also. Now there is another computer called microcomputer or personal computer. Here we have only one user at a time. But instead in a mainframe computer, more than 100 users can work at a time. So these two things cannot work, these two types of computer cannot work on a similar type of operating system. So depending on the user, how much the operating system can handle, there are two types of operating system. One is single user operating system and other one is multi-user operating system. Single user means one user at a time. You can see it here, one user at a time. And here multiple users, that is multi-user operating system. More than one users will work at a time. That is called multi-user operating system. Now let us consider single user operating system. The single user operating system is mostly used for a single user, that is a personal computer. An OS which is actually used with personal computers and caters the needs of only one user at a time is called a single user operating system. One user at a time. Only a personal computer can afford this, because in a multi-user computer, in a mainframe computer, you cannot allow one user to work at a time. There will be several users, more than 100 users at a time. So in a operating system where only one user works at a time is known as a single user operating system. Okay. Now, if you check the PCXT, PCAT, then advanced personal computers, we can also see that nowadays computers are more efficient to take more works. So based on the number of tasks, how many tasks one computer can work at a time, at the same time, can handle, single user operating system is further divided into two types. Okay. The single user operating system is single user single tasking, means one user one task at a time. It cannot do more than one task at a time. After the first task is over, it will take over the second task. After the second task will over, it will take the third task. Similarly, if one user can work with multiple tasks at a time, those types of operating system are known as single user multitasking operating system, more than one work at a time. At given point of time, only one user will work. If it is work with single task, then it is called single user, single tasking operating system. You can see the examples that MS-DOS, that Microsoft Disk Operating System. Then there was a PC-DOS, Personal Computer Disk Operating System. Both of them are almost obsolete nowadays. And single user multitasking, one user, more than one task, then it is called single user multitasking, and they will be performed at the same time. And the example is MS Windows, one of the most popular operating system throughout across the globe, and the Mac OS, most sophisticated and supposed to be the first operating system for multitasking operating system. And if you are using a computer with MS-DOS and you want to write something, write some text, you want to play a music, and if you want to do a printout, these three things cannot be performed. So you do any one at a time. But if you are working with a computer or personal computer which is running under MS Windows, you can make a work set, you can listen to some music, and at the same time you can do some printing. All these three things can be performed at the same time. So I think you can understand what is a single user single tasking and single user multitasking, right? But an operating system which is used with larger computers, big computers like mainframe computer, mini computer, supercomputer, for catering the need of more than one user at a time. More definitely, when we are saying that it is a multi-user operating system, means more than one user working at a time. And definitely all these users, more than 100 users or even more than 500 users sometime, they are not doing the same work at the same time. So the operating system has to take charge of every individual users and their task. So this needs to be more sophisticated, more smart, it needs more memory and more intelligent also at the same time. So these types of operating system are known as multi-user operating system. So it is very natural that all the multi-user operating systems can handle multiple tasks of multiple users at the same time. So if you see the example, we have Unix, we have VAX BMS, we have Linux, these kind of things. So if you go a larger computing setup, you can see this kind of operating systems working very efficiently, and multiple users are doing their work very efficiently. So there is no problem doing all these things. So you have seen MS Windows, as I have shown you, and Mac OS is there, and Linux is a multi-user operating system. So I think this is all for today. So you can continue in the next class. Thank you very much.